This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Want to feel more creative but don't have the right laptop? Lenovo.com can help. Look through our legendary lineup of AI-powered PCs and devices and find the one that fits your passion. Our PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, as well as cutting-edge AI tools, allow students to focus, learn, and create with ease. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers can get 5% off their order. Shop now on Lenovo.com. The future's waiting, and it needs you.
Fan.
Get ready to laugh. Comedy legend Bill Engvall is back at Treasure Island Resort and Casino Friday, September 5th. The blue-collar comedy tour icon may have retired, but he just couldn't stay away from the stage. Here's your sign to catch him live for another round of side-splitting humor. Get all the details, ticasino.com.
Final hour, Nordo in for PA 9 to noon. It's a holiday week. And joining me now, GopherIllustrated.com. And at Ryan Burns MN. PA calls him the bow hunter. But it's an apt name. You actually do bow hunt.
I do. Was just talking about moving some tree stands here just a few minutes ago.
Now, you don't need a permit to carry a bow, do you?
You do not, no.
Okay. Bow technology is insane, by the way.
Don't get...
I'm entering into a territory that I don't know much about, to be honest with you. But it's not just, a certain type of somewhat flexible wood with a string on it. I mean, we got levels, we got sights, we got all kinds of things. What is it? The compression? No, it's the
compound bow.
Compound bow.
Well, you've got the as you think of Robin Hood,
little noodle arm guys like me. We use the compound bow, right?
I use a compound as well. I mean, I've had both shoulders reconstructed, so it ain't my poundage, as the kids would say in that industry, isn't what it used to be. But if you think of Robin Hood, he's shooting a recurve where you're just kind of eyeballing it, and it's the traditionalist way. Then you have a different level, which is the compound bow. And now if you ask your favorite sportsman in his life the thoughts on, I believe it's I'm blanking on it right now, crossbows in the woods now that anybody.
Oh, come on!
You can use crossbows in the woods.
That's not fair.
Yeah, it's certainly a very interesting discussion topic amongst many of us in that world. But I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong way. It's just it's a very interesting world we live in now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Crossbow. I didn't even think of that as being an option.
It used to be
because you say when you think of Robin, I think of Ryan Burns.
Yeah, many people say that. I'm sure many people say that.
Robin Hood didn't have as many trail cams, but
he also had a much nicer hat. One that I wish I could put on my giant noggin, but yeah, he dressed a lot nicer too.
Whether it's Gopher Illustrated, it's Pair and a Spare. I think you were with Guardsy last week in one of his fill-in affairs for Bumper to Bumper because we just can't get around it at this point. The recruiting, specifically in-state excellence of the head coach of our favorite maroon and gold football team is starting to become just a standard that PJ Fleck is really creating for himself in terms of keeping the top in-state prospects. Coy Parrish, of course, recently, but now the hot news, Jackson County Central. There are some that are having trouble finding out where Jackson County Central is on a map. I can tell you I believe it's south of I-90, southwest Minnesota. But Roman Voss, the top prospect coming into this particular class, he's coming to Minnesota. So the recruiting excellence of PJ Fleck, what do you think?
I think it goes back to even probably prior to PJ's tenure here, where a lot of these kids now in the state of Minnesota have grown up in a time where Minnesota Gopher football has been competent, which for me, I grew up in a time with Tim Brewster, where that whole dumpster fire experience, where it wasn't easy to bring your kids. So you as a father, you have children of that age, have them be interested in something that's bad.
Yeah, the chili's not hot.
And that's where when these kids grew up in the tail end of the Jerry Kill tenure, the early part of the PJ Fleck tenure, which, look, 2019 was great, but they go to bowl games every year now. And that's competency, which for a Gopher football program, and I'll be the one to tell you as someone who's covered this program for 15 years now, it's not always guaranteed. They've won 8 or more games now, I believe, in 4 of the last 5 seasons, something like that. So they're a good Big Ten team now, and these kids have grown up in it. Now, it also helps that Coy Parrish is from Esco, Minnesota. So it's a 2-hour drive down into the cities, Jackson, Minnesota, or Lakefield, Minnesota, whichever one you prefer. It's 2.5 hours up into the Twin Cities. What am I getting at with that? It's going away to college for these kids.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm from Edina, I get to go to the U.
Right.
I get to go 2.5 hours north. And I think the other thing
it's the big city.
It is.
Now it's Twin Cities driving, though. Watch out for that.
Yeah. Now, we can get into a whole discussion of what is, quote-unquote, outstate Minnesota, which I know a lot of people have thoughts and feelings of, if Cambridge is, or if anything. I went to North.
I would say Cambridge. I
think that's probably the start of, quote-unquote, for us.
Mora, what is that, Kanabec County, something like that. And then maybe you get up towards the Brainerd Lakes area. Well, certainly that's outstate.
I would certainly think so, but I don't think, as I've learned from my excursions to what I would call outstate Minnesota, I know they call us cityots, so we don't really know.
We are.
Well, look, we are what we are, but
the 75 stoplights on 65 going north towards Cambridge, that makes it take at least twice as long as it should to drive that distance. Cambridge is outstate.
You love driving through Anoka and playing in that area up there. You love that.
Are you kidding me with that little hairpin turn bit that slows everybody down on 47? Yeah, absolutely adore it.
But the point I was making with the outstate bit here is the thing I've found here, I think, especially recently in the last 5 years, is there is probably a lot more Gopher fans outstate than there might be in the metro. Now, why is that? I think a lot of people move to the Twin Cities after they get done with college to get jobs and whatever that may be, which is why you see a lot of different flags.
A lot of Badgers tainting the waters here of the metro.
Yeah, especially if you're from Lakeville, I would say. Guardsy would appreciate that. But Fleck has been able to do it now 3 straight, and I think number 1 kids in the state, because you have Coy Parrish, you have Roman Voss, and then you've got Emmanuel Carmo from Robbinsdale Cooper. It's interesting to see because it wasn't always like that. There was if you really want to go further back, the Chantrell Hendersons of the world, or the Joe Alts, the Bryce Benharts, the Riley Malmans. There was a period there where they didn't come to the U. So what Fleck's been able to do here, especially with Roman Voss, where if you were to told me 12 months ago Roman Voss was going to commit to the University of Minnesota, I would have laughed at you. But the way that they changed his mind, his family's mind, and really put in the effort to say, you don't need to go to Iowa, Nebraska, or at the very end there, it was them or Bama. And that was, I'll remind your listeners, there's a lot of connections between Caleb DeBoer and Ryan Grubb in that part of the state because those guys made their bed at Sioux Falls. I mean, that's where they were, and there's a lot of connections to
that's the hook, isn't it?
There's a lot of connections between DeBoer and Grubb in that area.
I feel dumb for not knowing that, but that's the hook right there.
We're trying to enlighten everybody. Okay?
And frankly, if you're in Jackson, if you're in, you mentioned Lakefield as well, but you get down there by Wyndham and and Worthington.
Mm-hmm.
I have some family from that area.
You're a big Pipestone guy as well.
Massive Pipestone guy. I've been saying that for years. But Sioux Falls kind of that's your big city. If
Correct.
you think about where you're doing grocery shopping, hey, let's go catch a movie at the mall. We're going to Sioux Falls.
Right.
We're not driving up to, so that can, oh, wow. I didn't think about that recruiting pipeline with the Boar and Grub, like you mentioned. That's sweet.
So not only was it Bama, but it's a head coach who's got a lot of connections to that part of the state, and Minnesota was able to sell him on, you come here, we're still going to be able to utilize you within the offense, because they do have 2 tight ends, Minnesota does, in the NFL right now, with Brevin Spanford with the Dallas Cowboys, who I think caught somewhere around 10 passes last year for them. And then Keefe was a 7th-round pick with Tom Brady, and he's still in the NFL. So the pitch to him is, look what we did with these kids. Now you're, in theory, have some better clay to work with, 4-star, everything that goes along with that. Look what we can do with you.
What positions did Roman Voss play in high school?
As any great athlete does for their high school team, they play
everything.
They play everything. So he plays quarterback. He's been playing varsity for them since 8th grade, and it's a good Jackson County Central team. I believe they won state last year. They've been very,
Are they
very
single A?
I think
or
they're
double A?
I think they're double A.
Okay.
He plays everything. So he played last year anywhere from quarterback to receiver to linebacker. 6'4", 225 pounds. He's also a great basketball player. As a sophomore, I believe he crossed over 1,000-point plateau there. So multi-sport. I cannot stress that enough to any and all of your listeners. Your child should not be specializing in sports, in my opinion here. You should always be multi-sport. As someone who speaks with many different collegiate coaches throughout a day, I think every single one of them will tell you they want you to be doing something in the winter, something in the spring. So if your child is a skill position athlete, say running back, receiver, corner, have them go do track in the spring or baseball, whatever it may be. But multi-sport is still something that I know all of these head coaches across the Dakotas, the Big Ten, Northern Sun, MIAC, that's what they're looking for.
So then in the end, he played everything, which is awesome. And, you know, we've gone down this road, the Antonio Gates of the world. There are a bunch of tight ends that you can reference with some sort of basketball past attached to them as well. But specifically with Voss, why is tight end the spot? For a guy that played everything, for a guy that is the 4-star athleticism and such, why is it a projection specifically to tight end? And why do you think after 5 or 6 years of your rooting for Brevin Spanford that now Roman Voss will fill that void as Brevin moves on to the big league?
Well, as a former collegiate tight end myself, now
there it
not very successful.
Now the truth's coming out.
Yeah, I always got to pull for the tight end. But for Voss, I think Bama and Minnesota both viewed him as a tight end. I think it's a position that he wanted to. I don't think he is a Big Ten caliber type of quarterback, and I think a lot of these Big Ten schools, SEC schools, agreed with that evaluation. The other position that some were looking at him were as kind of a linebacker type, which maybe that's in his future, but get the ball in his hands as a 6'4" difference maker and let him make plays. To me, if you got to put a comp on it, if it goes really well for Roman Voss here at the University of Minnesota, I think you're looking at, and this is going to pain a lot of the listeners to hear me say this, but someone like Sam Laporta at Iowa, the way that they used him, and obviously now his success with the Detroit Lions, I think similar body type, similar athleticism, and it's trying to get his ball and get the ball to him in space and just let him be a 6'4" athlete. And I think if you have really good hands, I think that's the difference to me. Is if you can catch the football at 6'4", you're going to have a spot on offense. If it looks not great, that's where you look at a lot of the guys on defense. So he's got soft hands and 6'4" with athleticism.
What do you think the perception is from a recruiting standpoint or a program standpoint that the Gophers have within kind of the Big Ten universe? And we got changes, we got new teams to the mix. We can get to all that, but just in terms of what PJ's doing here in the hierarchy of what at the moment feels like super top heavy conference. And then there's about everybody kind of living in purgatory. And there's a couple of programs that got a lot to go in terms of growth. But what do you think the perception is in terms of PJ's squad with, you know, when you think about or factor in this recruiting and some things that he's building here?
Yeah, I think they're solidly in that middle tier. And that's where, because of the transfer portal here in the last few years, I think that is the one thing that has really changed the tier system within the Big Ten, where the Ohio States and the Michigans, Alabamas can't hoard all the talent in the world anymore. Because these kids who used to be highly recruited, highly touted, won't just sit on the bench anymore. They want to go play somewhere. And that's where teams like Minnesota have benefited from that. And that tier just gets very congested now. You're still going to have the Ohio States and the Michigans and them at the top, but you've now seen with the college football playoff, you look at some of the teams last year, the Arizona States and the SMUs and even Minnesota against Penn State last year. That game's going to bother me for a long time as someone who covered it, knowing that they played a semifinalist in Penn State who was in the Final Four.
They did.
The college football playoff.
And they had a chance in that freaking game.
And they gave the ball back to Penn State with 6 minutes left, all 3 timeouts, 1-point game at home, and they never got the ball back.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot, especially with the way Fleck has played Franklin over the years. It's something to where they've been so close, but they haven't been able to get it done. But you look at some of the teams in the college football playoff, and it takes a season like 2019, and especially when you project forward here, where they're going to go from 12 to 16 teams here very shortly.
Yeah.
The expectation for a team like Minnesota should be once every few years. Now, whether few is 3 to you, whether a few is 5 to you, they should absolutely be in that discussion, because with the House settlement money that's now going to be going into effect tomorrow, where Minnesota, and along with every other Big Ten team, is going to be paying football athletes $14 million across their rosters.
So 14 of that 20 and a half or whatever it is specific to football.
Somewhere around there. We don't know the specific amount from Mark Hoyle and the folks over there at the university, but from what I've been told, $14 million is a good number to get out there.
Certainly a lion's share, given the revenue nature of that sport. Yes.
And it's going to continue to get even more interesting down 3-5 years from now, and we'll see if we get into antitrust and different types of jargon of that, where maybe these kids aren't student athletes at that point. They're going to be paid even more, and there's going to be a collective bargaining agreement. But it is to the point to get back to the original question, because I love to go on a tangent here.
I'm open. I'm cool with it.
Their over-under for a win total this year is 6.5. And you look at Iowa.
We're going to smash the over.
Well, Minnesota's hit the over pretty consistently here in the last 5 years, and their schedule it's pretty conducive. But why weren't they better last year? They weren't great in one-possession games. I mean, that North Carolina game is another one that's going to bother me for a long time. I've called it the sloppiest game of the PJ Fleck tenure. They had other games where so many coin flips, but they were 3-5 in one-possession games last year. And you look at the 2025 schedule for this year. You got
the Tar Heels game with Brad Johnson's kid.
Yeah.
And he got hurt, Max.
Correct.
Yeah, he got hurt in the game. Devastating injury, I think, sadly for him.
Yep.
Man, we still couldn't get over the
missed a couple of kicks in that game, just sloppy penalties, sloppy play all around.
Dragon.
Yeah, it was
okay.
There were some different games within that, but this schedule is very similar to the one I think they had last year, where you have two ones off the rip that you should win. You're going to be double-digit point favorites. You got 2 games that you're going to be double-digit underdogs on the road at Ohio State.
Oh, yeah, and on Eugene, right?
Yep, on the road at Oregon. And then you got 8 games in the middle there, where if you go 3-5, you're going to be looking at you, me, and everybody else heading out to Charlotte again, go to the Duke's Mayo Bowl, see PJ Fleck get dumped.
Do they have Mayo samples out there?
Yes, they have all different types of mayo. I know a lot of media members came home with a lot of different Duke's Mayo varieties, which was an interesting
swag bags, different flavors and things too.
Not swag bags, but little things of mayo. Which college football is so beautiful in that aspect, where you get to watch PJ Fleck get dumped with an entire thing of mayo. And let me tell you, as someone who was very close to him after that smell was horrific.
Yeah,
absolutely horrific.
Mayo in the sun. It doesn't mix.
It's not great.
What did the TSA representative? What kind of look did they give you when your carry-on goes through and you just have 100 packets of Duke Mayo in there?
I think they see a lot more interesting things than mayo come through the line. But
mild charge travels.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to do. I want to pause because I actually got a couple of money questions for you in relation to. We're talking about keeping Roman Voss, recruitment and the in-state kids. Like, we've been demanding it for years, Mr. Burns, and now it's happening. Mm-hmm. How the money potentially plays into that. And I saw you wrote something on Trayson Richardson that I want to get to. Again, good recruiting down the way here for the coach. But as we get closer to camp and things, just some stuff to be pumped up about it. I'm going to do that next segment if you're cool with that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go for Illustrated. and .com, Parent a Spare podcast with Mr. Scoggins and Mr. Guard. You can listen to that on the free iHeartRadio app. It's terrific if you're into the maroon and gold. Also going to ask you about Jalen West, Mankato West finest, as a former mediocre high school goalkeeper for the Scarlets in Mankato West. It's important that we find out if the Cato kids are doing well. So we'll talk about all those things. Maybe he doesn't even play for the program anymore, but I'm just going to ask Burns about it when we return after the cash thing here 9 to noon.
The cash thing, the fan and bigdeck.com. Want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword for this hour is pay. The keyword pay, KFAN.com. Keyword.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Unlock smarter learning with Lenovo AI-powered PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Head to Lenovo.com and choose from multiple devices to fit your passions. If you're a gamer, you can spend less time stressing about GPUs and CPUs and more time dominating with your AI-enabled Smart Engine, which optimizes your game performance in real time. Or maybe you're a scientist on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery and need a device with a longer battery life and AI-enhanced tools to give you extra time to finish your research. Or you're a musician preparing for your biggest break and need better, faster AI tools to make digital art a breeze, like creating band posters and t-shirt designs. Or you're a soon-to-be graduate needing to catch a recruiter's eye to land that dream job, so you need cutting-edge smart tools to build your portfolio from scratch. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers get 5% off with an education account on Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available July 17th. Rated everyone 10 and up. Only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Covenant cleanup, I meant Jalen Smith, the wide receiver, Mankato's finest. But before we get to him, the money situation with his $20.5 million, and it's a 10-year deal as part of the congressional settlement. And I think it's a graduating number that will increase in some form or fashion year over year over the next decade. But how does that impact? Because here's where I think about it. Ryan Burns, at Ryan Burns, MN in studio, sorry. But Ryan, I think about it where it's cool that schools now have this. I mean, they have this ability to actually pay players. You know, for years, it's like you call the office, you get the boosters in touch with the collectives, and the collectives find ways. And, you know, they've been handling business at a high level for a long time. Now this is something, I guess, that is official, or it's noted, it's measured, and it's monitored. But if every school has this opportunity, there will be the deviations of certain schools or programs may have a harder time divvying out that $20.5 million, but all schools will have this same pot of money. Well, the boosters still get to be the ones that come over the top.
Yes.
And the NIL collectives actually still hold prominence and still hold clout, if we're going to use that word. And so it's still helmet schools. It's still the institutions. It's still old money. It doesn't necessarily change things and the biggest level. But does it help, whether it's PJ or another school, maybe keep that kid from the middle of nowhere or outstate Minnesota, keep him knowing that, yeah, I could probably go and I don't even know what it would be. Let's say it's $200,000 over the course of my 4 years or something, whatever the allotment would be.
Sure.
If I can get that here and I can get it there, and mostly all things are the same, and I have this opportunity, it does feel like that kind of enhances maybe the ability of a PJ to keep someone local.
100%. And now I'll say this, for folks who think, well, now we got all this money coming in, that changes how I view these kids. I would encourage you to think back to the 90s and 2000s. And if you were to have gone around Ohio State's campus,
those were the glory years,
or go look at Miami's campus and see what these kids are driving or what they're wearing, or you go down to Texas and see what Vince Young was. These kids have been getting paid for a very long time. It's just been under the table for a very long time.
Okay.
I mean, go back and look at Johnny Manziel and that whole era, which I would have loved to have seen Johnny Manziel in this now NIL era with the insane different things I'm sure that he would have had deal-wise, the king that was Johnny Manziel back in the day. But you even look at what has been reported here in the college football world in the last 12 months, where Ohio State and Texas have reportedly, and I truly believe this as someone who works in this industry every day, spent over $20 million on their rosters last year.
Oh, come on.
Now, they both made the college football playoff. Ohio State had a fantastic season, and they would tell you every single penny of that was well worth it. They won the national championship.
Of course, yes.
But that's the kind of era that the Gophers are now competing in. So the fact that they have this additional $14 million to spend on their roster starting tomorrow is huge for them. Now, you even seen what their collective, Minnesota's that is, and Dinkytown Athletes has done here the last few years. Coy Parrish is still here, contrary to what every person on Twitter told me after every Coy Parrish interception last year, saying he's going to go get more money. I can assure every listener out there, Coy Parrish is very well compensated here currently at the University of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Now, I think the other aspect of that is if you go to a Gopher football practice, or when folks go to Gopher football games here starting in a couple months, you're going to see a lot of Coy Parrish jerseys. I've seen them around campus, and I've seen them at different practices. And I think that's another big part of staying home for these kids.
Does he get a little piece of that too? Hopefully.
I think he will.
Okay,
yes.
good.
Yeah, I will assure people the Coy Parrish of the world are very... They're highly compensated here at the University of Minnesota, the Darius Taylors of the world.
That's got to be cool when he sees fans with his number on, right?
Well, like I do, we're very much in this state a hashtag one of us. Like, we love supporting.
He's
or
number 3, right?
Yes.
So Ron Johnson would say that they're all wearing Ron Johnson jerseys.
But now it's got
don't
the
listen
Parrish.
to him, Coy.
It's got the Parrish on it now,
perfect.
so there's no discrepancy.
It's good.
But being able to stay home, and these kids, he's a Minnesota guy doing big things here at the University of Minnesota. And so we'll see what's in store for Coy Parrish in 2025. But for Roman Voss to be able to see that, Emmanuel Carmo, Jackson Howard, whoever it may be, I think it's a large part of it. And that's where if you've seen them have the success the last 2 years of being able to keep their best players on their roster. This isn't Bucky Irving going to Oregon anymore because Minnesota wasn't able to pay him enough.
How good was he last year for the Bucs, by the way?
Tremendous, especially in the second half of that season.
He basically, I think he took the starting job from White. Yeah.
He did.
Unbelievable. Rashad White, that's who it was. Okay, so money aside, there's still money changing hands. So at some point, we're going to all have to just get over that, whether it was airline tickets and Range Rovers years ago, or it's just an actual check from the university.
Jewelry, or as my favorite Chip Scoggins of the Star Tribune would tell you, McDonald's bags full of cash that were being dispersed at Tennessee's campus. I mean, there's a lot of different stories that I could tell throughout the years where there's been money exchanging for a long time. Now, I think if you look forward here, like I said in the last segment, I think collective bargaining is going to be within the future here, especially in college football, because this is a $1 billion industry now. Everyone loves college football. Everybody loves it on Saturdays, and the players want more and more of the pie. And when you look at especially the way that the TV rights and the media rights money continues to go up, it's trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Drake Lindsay, though, are we excited about seeing Drake take over things?
I mean, he's the linchpin of whether this season's going to be 5 or 6 wins, whether it's going to be 7 or 8 wins. And just like with any starting quarterback that is a young player, I think to me, I view it a lot in the same way that it's going to be with J.J. McCarthy with the Vikings, where J.J. essentially got his redshirt season last year with the Vikings. Now, unfortunately, it was injury related for him, and Darnold did some good things here, but Drake got his redshirt season, learned from Max Brosmer, who's now Vikings quarterback Max Brosmer. We'll see if he's able to ultimately make the roster there as QB3. We'll see.
Doesn't it feel kind of fleeting with Max, though? I mean, in the end, like, fun season, cool to get to know him a little bit, and provided good moments, maroon and gold.
Right.
But it was just kind of the 1 year, and all right, see you later, guys.
Trust me, I wish he was here for another season, but going from what they had in 2023 to Max Brosmer in 2024 to see competent quarterback play, I would say for a Gopher football program that has struggled for that for so long, to see him break the all-time completions record from your guy, Mounds View native Adam Weber, 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. They should have won more games last year. They should have won one or two more, but I think there's a lot.
I didn't mean to bring it up again. I mean, you're still sour on the Franklin game. You're still sour on the Tar Heels. I get it,
but that's where we're
It'll be better this year.
And that's the thing, though. And that's, to me, as someone who lives in this world every day. They won 8 games last year. I mean, that's the floor of the program every single year now. Is you win in 7-8 games, which I remember 10 years ago watching Brewster, and it just, or even the early years of Jerry Kill when he inherited that roster, it wasn't a good time.
No, tough times.
So when you have a floor like you have now to Drake Lindsay, it's how can he look from game 1 to game 13 this year? I think there's a lot of people in the program that are very excited about him. Now, I know a lot of the listeners are thinking, well, we heard this all about Ethan Callie-McManus back in the day. I would tell you, physically, they look similar. I think Drake's probably a little bit taller. But I think the thing that you're going to find out as we continue to get into the Drake Lindsay tenure is the processing ability and the ability to kind of read a defense is certainly there for Drake Lindsay. I think from what we've seen from Ethan Callie-McManus at Rutgers and Minnesota, 52% completion percentage, has his moments, and then the next throw can be, we don't know where it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see more consistency with him. But what are you going to get from a redshirt freshman quarterback who's never started a game in college? That's a great question. If I knew what we were getting in terms of the University of Minnesota, I could have a much more accurate depiction of what this season is going to look like. But 6.5, considering you're starting a quarterback as a redshirt freshman in the Big Ten for the first time, I think is a good number.
Oh, we're going over that. We absolutely are. What about this Mankato kid?
Jalen Smith.
Is he part of the mix?
He is. I would argue that there isn't a receiver, and this is with my own 2 eyes, and then from talking with people in Dinkytown who have worked with him every day, there isn't a receiver who has improved more in the last, I would say, 6-9 months than Jalen Smith, and now he has firmly put himself into the mix. I think there were practices I was at by the end of spring ball where he was in the starting mix there. Now, he is a redshirt freshman again. He played in the bowl game for the first time, but there are lofty expectations for him behind the scenes. Now, if he can just get his feet wet here this fall, and then really, I mean, if you want to be very bullish about it, he's someone, a redshirt freshman with Drake Lindsay, that you can dream on the future about with those two.
How about that?
There's a lot of people There's a lot of people very excited about what the future is going to bring for Jalen Smith. Now, he's got to continue to progress. He's still a young man, but there's a lot of people in Dinkytown excited about his future.
Oh, that's sweet. Craig Dahl played in the NFL. He was a Mankato kid, Mankato East. I, of course, a lot of people, I mean, people talk about it still to this day, the mediocre high school soccer goalkeeping that I provided.
Legendary athlete from what I'm told.
Well, you've been lied to. Jalen Smith, Might produce the triumvirate of athletes to come out of Mankato. That'd be sweet. Let's go Scarlets. Let me see here. By the time you get to the fair, you're going to give us 9 wins, right?
I don't know that we're going to get there yet. If they can beat the over at 6.5, which depending on your favorite sports book, I looked this morning, somewhere between 6.5 and 7.5. A lot of it to me comes down to that home schedule, which is very advantageous for Minnesota. You have Buffalo and your favorite former alma mater, Northwestern State, which I don't know if you or Brett could name what state that is actually in. They're a absolutely dreadful FCS team.
Northwestern State.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know that I know where it is at this point.
Yeah, here's what we're going to do. You're going to continue for about 25 seconds where I find it.
So you got Buffalo and Northwestern State. You get a bye week to prepare for Rutgers, which you still got a lot of angles between PJ Fleck and Greg Schiano, and that game got away from the Gophers last year as well. You've got Nebraska at home on a Friday night. You got Michigan State. You also get the Badgers at home. How you do at home, if you can take care of business at home and you can go 6-1, which I think if they go 6-1, they would be tickled pink about that.
Are they the Demons?
They are.
Natchitoches? I don't know if I'm saying this correct. Natchitoches, Louisiana.
Louisiana?
Yeah.
Look at that.
They're down near the bayou.
You're a big bayou guy.
It's not going to be...
Well, your guy Sean Payton down there. You're wearing, as I'm looking at you right now, Sean Payton for President shirt.
Well, he's... this is exactly what I think of Sean Payton. Absolutely. He's in Denver now, by the way. So he's made a change. Wow, the Northwestern State Demons. You learn something every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love playing the schedule game with you at the fair because, first of all, you do a terrific job covering the team, but I feel a little bit of fan in you. Am I being accurate? Where I mean, you're not rooting for them to lose, certainly. I can't, maybe you're not a giant, inside at night, you're hiding your true Golden Gopher rubedom. I don't want to challenge the integrity of your journalistic work. My point is, though, is that I think you are like us, 9 to noon, where we, one way or another, we're trying to find ways the team can win. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where that's kind of how we're looking at it. Like this is how things can go the right way.
Sure.
Now we're not going to call upsets at the Big House. We're not going to do that or the Shoe. Good luck in Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
But in the same sense, if these things go the right way, good things can happen. You're going to put them on 9 wins at the State Fair. I know you will.
I don't know. We'll get there. But I think the way I view my job is I'm very fortunate. Again, I've been doing this 15 years now. I'm 32 years old. I cover a collegiate sports team for a living, and I do this full time. It's something to where I'm very passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
I know of where I think a lot of Gopher fans would tell you that the Gophers are in this market, which I'll be the first one to tell you. It's a pro sports heavy market, and
sure.
It's the Vikings as a leader. Everyone knows that. And then depending on the season, I think the Wolves' rise has certainly put them at number 2. And then, look, the only team I would tell you I'm an absolute rube of is the Minnesota Twins, which don't get me started about.
Man, they're breaking your heart right now.
Well, about their pitching staff and then $37 million.
Don't do it.
Christian Guzman at shortstop there.
Don't do it.
But for the Gophers.
They're so mad right now.
It's a team that, again, the Minnesota Gopher football team did $90 million in revenue last year.
Wow.
And there's not a lot of people in this market that cover it. And I know it. I show up to every single press conference. I show up to every single game. And I think there's a segment of the fan base that is very passionate about them. So for what I'm able to do now for 15 years, I'm passionate about it. Now, I'm watching you actively sip on that. Was that maroon and gold colored Kool-Aid you got going on right there?
It's like I'd call it black cherry. It's more red than maroon.
Well, we have the Badger fan behind me here.
We're getting there.
And he knows from unfortunately having to call me every, Brett, what is it, about 8:12 every Sunday morning?
That's about right.
For the past, I don't know how many years, so we can break down every Wisconsin Badger game before we get into Go for Football Sunday.
I remember it's like, how are you going to rip Graham Mertz this week? And he deserved it.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely deserved it.
Can't wait to talk about Billy Edwards with you on Sunday morning. Your starting quarterback that Wisconsin Badger schedule is diabolical this year.
Tough times for Madison, and I shed no tears. It's one of those things that's interesting, though. You mentioned you've been doing it for 15 years, 32. I do think about, from a recruiting standpoint, getting the Romans here, getting the Parriches here, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
That does kind of help pass the torch. I mean, all jokes aside, the Gophers have had trouble connecting with younger college sports fans. Not so much like in the now times, but there was that conversation where 100%. It was like the Gophers fan base, you had to go to...
it was the AARP club. I'll be the first one to tell you.
Perfect. But I think that this helps change that. Does that make sense at all?
I think Fleck has also done a really good job of connecting with the younger fans. And now whether that's the 40 and under, I would also tell you, if you've gone to a Gopher football game in the last year or two, you've seen the student section be as good as I've ever seen it in 15 years. And I went to the university.
You're absolutely right, yeah.
I mean, they're the ones that stir the drink. They're the ones that bring the energy to the stadium. And every single game, they have been there. And he's done a really good job of connecting. Now, the other interesting part within, I would say, the last 5 years is the tailgating lots before the games are exponentially younger than they've ever been. It's something to where there is, I think, a lost segment of Gopher fans, say 45 to 65. I think a lot of it was because of the play on the field, just different aspects of that. But now there are people, you're my age, Brett's age, that have seen a Gopher football program be largely competent and have largely seen now, especially now that there's a stadium on campus. I think that's a large part of it too, that they have something to connect to. And then you have these local recruits, I'll say, in-state kids, or even the Gophers also have the number one player in the state of Wisconsin committed to them, and an offensive lineman by the name of Gavin Meyer. Like
we're taking everything from Scottyville.
Luke Fickell's in for an interesting year, I think. And if he didn't have a $40 million buyout and Wisconsin misses a bowl game for the second straight year, that their over-under, I believe, is 5.5. Like, I'll be the first one to tell you, as I just said, that is one of the most difficult schedules in all of college football this year. It is what it is. The scheduling overlords didn't bless them. But 2 straight years for what they were 15 years ago. I mean, I've seen a lot of good Wisconsin teams over the years.
Yeah, so have I.
I'm very curious to see if they're going to be going from the dairy raid to now 2 and 3 tight ends like they used to be. I don't know if they have the personnel for that. But just to be able to fill the stadium and get people our age in the stadium to connect with everything is one of the things that I don't think has been talked about enough here in the last 5 years, because it did used to be very old there, and you knew it. But the way that you're able to look around the lots and just see how the tailgate culture has even been able to grow down at the university has been really cool to see.
That's Ryan Burns at Ryan Burns MN via X, GopherIllustrated.com, and then also the Parent of Spare podcast with Chip Scoggins and JG, Justin Guard. You can listen to that on the iHeartRadio app. Thanks for hanging out, brother.
I appreciate you.
That's Ryan Burns. I'm Nordo. Final, very...
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Are you shopping for a new laptop while still trying to keep up with technology and AI? Talk about feeling burnt out. But no more. Lenovo.com makes it easier than ever to find the perfect PC. In fact, we'll break it down for you. Step 1. Shop our lineup of AI PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Because why deal with downloading new software when you can buy a smarter PC that already comes with all of the AI features and tools? Step 2. Find the one that fits your passion. Whether you're a creative genius, a research scientist, a hardcore gamer, or a future CEO, no dream is too big. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. You can keep up with your ideas as well as any challenges you may face. Step 3. Add to cart and purchase. Oh, if you're a college student or a teacher, make an education account through us and get 5% off your whole order. Shop now at Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available July 17th. Rated everyone 10 and up. Only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Truncated segment next.
Hey. KFAN.
Hey, big thanks to Parker Fox for joining me in the opening hour. Matt Maka, CEO of The Wild, to announce naming rights change. It's going to be Grand Casino Arena in St. Paul. And I still say, if Kirill Kaprizov handles his business, we could nickname him the Slot Machine. I don't know. You can ask Tenna behind you if you think that's a good nickname or not. I don't know. I'm just Grand Casino Arena in St. Paul, a new name, and we'll all get used to it and love it. Big thanks to Ryan Burns as well. I'm in for PA again tomorrow, and a couple of things going on. Deal-making season for the NBA lifts off tonight. Free agency for the NHL kicks off at 11 tomorrow. I'm going to have Lavelle. I got Kevin Fallness. We got hockey to talk about, some deals on the hoop side of things. Another fun day ahead, 9 to noon, but the program is next. Thanks to Brett. Have a terrific afternoon. Appreciate you listening to The Fan.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Hey, it's me, your heart. Mind if I pick the next song? Listen, even though we're eating better, people who've had one heart attack are at higher risk of another. But Repatha Evolocumab plus a statin lowers LDL-C, our bad cholesterol, and our heart attack risk. So let's talk to our doctor about Repatha.
Do not take Repatha if you're allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions can occur. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Common side effects include runny nose, sore throat, common cold symptoms, flu or flu-like symptoms, back pain, high blood sugar, and redness, pain, or bruising at the injection site. View the important safety information in our banner. Listen to your heart. Ask your doctor about Repatha.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you, you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Does Friendly have a taste? If it does, it's probably like Hello's peppermint-flavored anti-plaque and whitening toothpaste. Brush away plaque, show tartar who's boss, and remove surface stains to naturally whiten. Hello's thoughtful and flavor-forward products make brushing your teeth feel like a confetti-filled bathroom dance party. So say hello to Hello with the always cruelty-free, never tested on animals toothpaste that's made to spread smiles. Visit HelloProducts.com and let Hello add some everyday yay into your life.